I'm probably what you would call a casual gamer. Not because I want to be, I've just always been scared of trying new things. And this is something that was instilled in me from a very young age. I haven't done a lot of things in my life, and that's why I created this channel. I didn't play Fallout 3 until about 2014. I remember exactly where I was when I first played this wonderful masterpiece. I was at my Theo's house for Christmas, and being the anti-socialite I am, I hid in the guest room, rummaging through my uncle's small video game collection. I don't remember all the games he possessed, but I remember seeing BioShock 2, Grand Theft Auto 4, and a game I've never played before, Fallout 3, and I've never fallen in love with a game so quickly. But another part of me was embarrassed. I'm 8 years late to this party. It's not like I can go back to school and tell all of my friends that I barely got around to playing Fallout. I would have been a gamer laughingstock. So I enjoyed Fallout 3 and New Vegas in secret, pretending to be one of the original supporters of the game series. But only I knew the lie I was living in. It was a pitiful time in my life and probably my lowest point ever. So when Fallout 4 did release, I thought that playing it for days on end would annul me of my gamer sins. But all it did was give me hemorrhoids from sitting down too long. I guess you can say that I learned a thing or two from my Fallout experience. 1. Never cheap out on your gaming chair. And 2. Don't lie about the media you consumed, because God will punish you and make sure that Fallout 76 is created and released, and God will give you hemorrhoids. I remember May 30th, 2018 vividly, because Kanye West Ye was being live streamed the same day of Bethesda's 24-hour hype stream for their next project, Fallout 76. This came as a huge surprise to most fans because we weren't expecting a new Fallout game for another decade. Most fans believed we were going to receive Fallout 4's New Vegas type spinoff. It's kind of sad looking back at it now. And for the next week and a half before E3, the hype was in fact real. I mean, Fallout 4 was a decent 7. So imaging a more refined and in-depth iteration using the same engine was a dream I held dear to my heart. Then Todd got on stage and put a pin in my dreams because it was announced that Fallout 76 was a multiplayer experience, a fully online game. For the realists, the hype died there, but for people like me, the dreamers, we held on to hope. Then as details came, the hope slowly dwindled down. No NPCs, shitty camp system, microtransactions. Do I really have to keep going? Furious fans of the game demanded a single player mode, even going to lengths of getting a reasonable amount of names on an online petition to include a solo campaign mode. The ship was sinking fast, and I knew it, and that's why I shut it all off. I told myself, I don't care, I don't want it, I won't even worry about it, and I've kept true to those statements for about a year. Of course there was no escaping the onslaught of backlash that Fallout 76 got on YouTube, but I never watched one video. I never saw gameplay of it unless you count what we saw at E3, but speaking as someone who kept themselves in a Fallout 3 bubble for a year, curiosity got the best of me. I will only be reviewing what's present on this disc. I'm not gonna peck at Bethesda's running corpse and interpret their shitty business behavior. I'm here for the game, and for the sake of structure of this video and my sanity, I'll be using my scam review process. Wait, you never heard of scam? Well, for the uninitiated watching, I'll break it down for you. The S is for sounds and visuals. The C is for character building, A is for assaulting things using weapons, and the things I'm assaulting, and M is for how much fun I had. No more of this meandering. Let's hop out of this vault and play some Fallout. Fallout 76 is a prequel to all previous Fallout games. Our lone wanderer isn't so lonely anymore because we're playing an online RPG. Since I have no friends, I try to pair up with random players I found in-game, but for the most part I wandered West Virginia alone, which means I had a lot of time to critique the sound and visuals. If this game has nothing else going for it, then at least it has some pretty okay graphics. Overall, when it comes to visuals, 76 is just a softer and smoother Fallout 4, but only when you're in the more foresty parts of the game. Once you head up towards the valleys, well, I can't say we haven't seen this boring monochromatic color scheme in a Fallout game before, so it's nothing too out of the ordinary, just very lackluster when compared to the more luscious parts of this game. But that's not to say this game is not a glitchy mess sometimes, because 10% of the time, that's exactly what it is. I mean, you can say it's Bethesda, that's how they are. But I've given Bethesda at least $100 in the last decade. So I think they should use that money to figure this shit out. So if anyone at Bethesda is listening to this, find my $100 and fix your games. Sonically, this game is fine. Well, maybe like 2% better than fine. I really do like the ambient noises of Bethesda's West Virginia. At some points in the game, it sounds like you're really in the forest. Hearing the caws of unknown birds and the sounds of branches rubbing up on each other, it made for an exceptional immersive experience, especially if you're wandering alone at night. I am a naturally jumpy person, so even if I think I heard the slightest noise behind me, I'm blasting my pipe pistol. Which reminds me to add that hearing other players' guns in the distance is one thing I think 76 could have done right if only the combat system wasn't complete garbage, which I'll touch on later. But usually in open world games, when I hear other players' guns firing, I go in the opposite direction, especially since I'm such a low level. But here we have the biggest and widest safety net I've ever laid my eyes on. But I'll get into that after we speed through the C part of the scam process, because there's not a lot to the character building in Fallout 76. It's weird and I don't like it. Wow, this sucks. What was wrong with Fallout 4's perk and level up system? It's not like we're asking you to bring back Fallout New Vegas' perk and skill system, but there's no reason to throw a perfectly good and simple level up system out the window. I understand that there has to be balance in the game and you don't want anyone to feel too overpowered, but it's so annoying that I have to switch my cards around when I eat a certain food so it will give me one effect that isn't even worth having its own card to take up an entire slot. I don't know about you, but when I play a Fallout game, I'm expecting to play as a character that I tailor to my playstyle, that I can start molding from the get-go. Not this weird pseudo-random drop system. It's so aggravating because I love playing the sly, charismatic, sneaky Bethesda games, but I keep getting agility perks that will help me run and gun. This game is completely devoid of that true character customization that even Fallout 4 could achieve. Very disappointing. 0 stars. I liked Fallout 4's shooting mechanics. The guns felt good and heavy, just the way I liked them. But what I loved most about Fallout 4's combat mechanics is the VAT system. Oh lord, did they nail this. It just feels so good to do this. Now we can all agree that VATS is overpowered, like it's literally an aimbot, right? Why the fuck does an open world multiplayer game have an aimbot? This isn't like an Overwatch ult where you earn your 3 seconds of aimbot. This is something every player has at their disposal. Bethesda, you already got rid of almost everything that would make this a Fallout game anyway. You should have revamped VATS to work in a way that would make sense in an online atmosphere. Like maybe the players highlighted a la Boone's spotting perk in Fallout New Vegas, or maybe you can do a Red Dead Deadeye trail type thing. But no, you rather opt to do the lamest and laziest thing you can do. But when it comes to general shooting system, I actually quite enjoyed the gun physics in Fallout 4, and since it's basically the same in 76, I guess I kind of have to say that I like it. Although in 76 you don't get that you get when hitting your target in 4, so take that into consideration. But I love that I can have a pump action shotgun again in a Fallout game. I'm so sad I never got one in Fallout 4. It just feels so badass, and they made it felt really good in my opinion. This brings us to the major black guy on this game, at least in my opinion, the player versus player. Who thought this was a good idea? I do understand that some people don't want their Fallout experience ruined by other players, but it's an online open world game. You should be expected to be shot at some degree. Take Grand Theft Auto Online for example. It's impossible to get through a few hours of gameplay before some dick shooting at you, but that's part of the whole experience of an unruly, unjust world. And I can't think of a more unruly and unjust world than the atomic wastelands of Fallout. To explain briefly, you can't really deal a substantial amount of damage to a player until they decide to shoot you back. But since they have time to take out their Pip-Boy and get their most OP gun, this is almost a duel you will always lose. Honest to Todd, this is the worst PvP mechanics in a video game ever. So good job Bethesda, you're ahead of the curve on something. Well, at least you have a new variety of enemies to shoot at in this game, like, wait a fucking minute, I know this fucker. This guy sucks, I hate him and his dad. That was kind of cringe, I'm sorry. As you can see, we have a litany of new radiated animals to slaughter and then harvest their meats and other goodies. I can't say that I was disappointed with the variety of fauna in this game. However, what was disappointing was how stupid the AI is. Sometimes they just give up and stop shooting, or they'd be stuck in their idle position and be forced to suffer a slow and agonizing death. All in all, assaulting things in this game isn't as rewarding as in other Fallout games, and I have to say, very disappointing, but maybe this time it's more like a 1.5 stars.
And my day is ruined.
Generally, I think Fallout 76 is not fun. I mean, I did play this game for several hours, so it did have its moments. But for every one of those true cool Fallout moments, there is like 70 stinky cacos waiting around the corner, ready to remind you that you are playing a less than stellar video game. Honestly, I really did want to like this game. I wanted to make this video and say, wow, everyone was wrong, I guess, huh? This game isn't a broken, horrible mess. It's a great step forward for Bethesda. But I can't say that. But I do refuse to say this game was not fun, because sometimes I'd forget I was playing an online game, and I'd sneak around a facility killing servo droids, stealing keys, and hacking into computers, but then some asshole would drop a nuke on me and ruin the fun I was having. And for some reason, there's a half-assed battle royale mode that takes so much time to get a game going. It's more a boring Bethesda trying to copy the big trends in other FPS games. To sum it up in a more concise way, I'd have to start with the question. Have you ever played with Flarp? You know, one of the only amusing toys you'd find at your local grocery store when you were like 9? That's how amusing Fallout 76 is. Take it as you will that a AAA video game that was being sold for $60 is as amusing as a $4.99 small cup of goop. I'm just speaking the truth of the matter. Fallout 76 is a total and utter disaster of a video game. Everything that people like about a Fallout game is not present here. There's no charm or choice to do anything detrimental to a storyline. This is all such a shame because I would have loved a good online co-op Fallout game. It's something I've always wanted since initially playing Fallout 3 in my uncle's basement. If this video game was likened to an album, it would be most closely resembled a modern Maroon 5 album. Complete sellouts with no soul, only trying to add some commas to their bank accounts. Sadly, I think this game marks the end of my brand loyalship to Bethesda. So anyway, Bethesda's watching this, I'd actually like my aforementioned $100 back. I can think of loads of better ways to spend this money on. For the rest of you watching, bye. I love you.